ヤギ様から盗み取った北斗神拳、北斗を味合わせてやるわ。
Hello everybody, welcome to the video. My name is Midway and today we're finally looking at some raid testing footage that I played myself, now playing against Kurog Grimtotem on Mythic difficulty, running a caster build as Holy Paladin. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this build, and recently there's been some changes that have made it so that caster and melee could potentially be a bit more in par. In fact, you will see in this footage that there is two Holy Paladins, even though one of them might show up as protection on details. They are also playing as Holy Paladin, and they are running the melee build, whereas I am running the caster build. Now, let me run you through these changes, and we'll understand a little bit more of why I said this. So, they changed the mana cost of some spells. Namely, they've made Holy Light cost 16% of base mana instead of 15, so that's a 1% increase. Crusader Strike now costs 10% base mana instead of 11, so Crusader Strike is now a little bit more mana friendly, even though in the past it used to be 9%, I believe. Could have been 8% as well. At some point it did not have a cost at all, so things have changed a lot, but it's still quite high. Also, Tears Deliverance now costs mana. It did not cost mana before, although we are not running Tears Deliverance on this build. But also, Barrier of Faith's cost has been increased to 16% off of 9.5% base mana. And Light of the Martyr has also been increased from 7% base mana to 9%. So there's been some mana cost increases that are making it so that we are closer in terms of mana consumption, whether we are running a melee build or if we are running a caster build. So yes, running with a caster build seems to still be the preferred option. You are giving up damage, but the mana sustain is still superior, but now it's a little bit more close to each other. Now, the main reason why the caster build is now a little bit more expensive is mainly because of Barrier of Faith. The cost on this spell is quite substantial, and it's almost been double. It's not that great of a spell anyways, but it used to be sort of like free healing. Now that's been changed a little bit. Are we gonna stop running this spell? Potentially, if the mana consumption was very big, but there is now a bigger window of opportunity to play a usual melee build, because if the fight's not too long, or if we are able to sustain our mana by different means, we are now a little bit more closer to just being able to do so without actually running them. So, just talking about the caster build here for a little bit, as you can see in the background, there's gonna be several pulls on this same boss. I recorded a little bit of the previous boss as well, but for the most part, all I'm gonna show, and everything that I'm gonna show here is gonna be from Kurog. And as you can see, the gameplay loop is going to be quite simple. For caster Holy Paladin, all you gotta do is keep Holy Shock on cooldown as always, and then once you run out of options, and you would usually resort to generating Holy Power via Crusader Strike, then that's when you would go ahead and use Holy Light onto the tank, so you get some extra Holy Power from the beacons. The build, by the way, will be down in the description if you're interested in that. You just want to see what I was playing with, you can go down and check that. But it's extremely simple. You just generate your Holy Power naturally, normally, as you would normally do with your Holy Shocks, but then, as I mentioned, once you run out of Holy Power and your Holy Shocks are not coming back off cooldown, because remember, we are running with Sanctified Wrath, so our Holy Shock cooldown is reduced, therefore we just have a lot of Holy Shocks while we are doing Wings. And we are just getting a lot of Holy Power, also getting a lot of Holy Power every time we just use one of those fat Holy Lights onto the tank targets with Infusion, of course. Also playing with the chance to get another Holy Power. I forgot the name of the talent, but regardless, gameplay loop extremely simple. Healing potential seems to be just as usual. You are dependent on not overhealing. We generate a lot of constant, quite a big coding of healing that we can do onto the raid, but our sniping potential is just as bad as always, so we are never really gonna be able to compete with Resto Druids, Mistweavers, etc, etc. Those that are gonna be playing those classes are still gonna be rinsing our asses. I do believe their output potential is still going to be superior to us, but we are fitting the niche of tank healing. We're still bringing Devo, we're still bringing a nice coding of healing. Now the real deal is going to be whether we can sustain this coding of healing over time. We are still bringing the spot healing if we want to with Marats, but we're not really looking to playing that. So for the most part, our spot healing is going to be limited to Holy Shock and then just a bunch of raid coding with our Lights of Dawn. So The healing profile not changed too much. If you're running Marats right now in retail, that will be a great difference. You're not using Marats in between every single Latadon. That's actually quite a good thing in my opinion, if you don't like the Marats playstyle. But it does mean that our spot healing potential goes down dramatically. So what I mentioned is that we don't really change too much of how we play. Even though we are calling it a caster build, the casting is not that bad. Even in this fight where there wasn't really that heavy of movement, to be fair, but you know, you could think that in some fights the casting of Holy Light in the middle of the action will be very terrible. It is indeed not the greatest thing ever, but it can be done, and it doesn't mean that the build is absolutely dog shit to play. Now, what about the fight? The fight itself was pretty okay. There's different sides. There's 4 sides for 4 elements: fire, earth, ice, and storm. You can choose which one you start with. If you stay in the middle, you will take a lot of damage. At some point, you will just die, so you cannot really do that for too long. But the fire one was the easiest one. Most of it was extremely easy. I think the fight was very, very doable. We were just bugging it, by the way. So yeah, a lot of mistakes being done, people finding out about the fight for the first time, just like I was. But for the most part, it just seemed to me that you just dodge a bunch of stuff, and it seems like a decently easy fight at first glance. We never really got too close to killing it, no matter what. But at least we got to the 2-minute mark, and that's about enough if you just want to see what the gameplay loop would normally look like. That being because we get to use wings on pull, and then we just get them back. You go through your 2 divine tolls after a minute, and that's about it. After that, you would just keep on doing the same thing over and over and over, maybe using a Devo at some point. But the basic gameplay loop has been experienced. And looking at the mana after like 2 minutes, I don't know, man, like it looked like about 50%. I was not using any potions or anything when it comes to mana, so I could definitely make that a lot longer. But, you know, the changes definitely felt noticeable, and once again, the real reason why we're running these over the normal melee playstyle is simply because of mana issues. Normal melee playstyle will bring more damage, that's guaranteed. So yeah, we're not really sure right now. I'm personally not really sure if we're gonna be ending up swinging one way or the other. At least in my opinion, it doesn't seem that's gonna be too that much skewed as it seemed like it was gonna be before. I could potentially see fights where you just go melee, as well as fights where you just go range, depending on what you're looking for. Maybe both playstyles are actually not melee and range, sorry, melee and caster. You're still gonna be melee no matter what. That's something that you gotta get into your minds. Any Holy Paladin that thinks they're gonna be able to stay in range and cast, that's not going to happen no matter what. You could do it, sure you can do it, but that's not how you're meant to be playing. And that's not gonna change regardless. So yeah, I think you could go either way. If you prefer one playstyle, you could maybe go with that. If you prefer another one, you could go with the other one. But when it comes to the absolute best, the decision seems a little bit more complicated in my eyes right now. You should definitely go ahead and look at the Paladin Discord and ask away some questions. I might be missing some key points at this point. I haven't looked in a while. But yeah, this is the footage, guys. I don't really have anything else to add. There's gonna be some more pulls after as the fight is ending. We might already be at that point. So yeah, just check that out. And there's gonna be different parts of the fight, different sides of the elements that you can see that things work a little bit differently. So if you're interested in how the fight works, just keep on watching and you'll see about that. But otherwise, that's all I have to say, and I'll see you on the next video. Hope you enjoy it, hope you find it useful. I do not have logs for this fight. If I do have, I'll try to find them later, but I couldn't log myself. So regardless, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye, see ya.